Moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks dissension here. Um, have really just been up and down. The in-season tournament, they've been playing really well. One of the better teams in the league, but there's just been seems a little bit of rumblings there with Giannis and Adrian Griffin, where the head coach, where he had a process in hiring and handpicked and had a say in it. And it looks like there's just a little bit of dissension there. And of course, looking at the Bucks coming into the season, trading Drew Holiday, getting Damian Lillard, obviously there was going to be a step back in defensively. That's just the way it works. That's just the way it is. They don't have guys like PJ Tucker, Wes Matthews. Chris Middleton has lost a step with his injury and stuff like that. And obviously going from Drew Holiday to Dame is going to affect your defense. That was going to be expected, and I feel like that was going to take some time to figure out. And especially if Giannis off that knee surgery, who just had knee surgeries this offseason, if he's not there defensively, it makes it really difficult for those other guys to pick up that slack, especially with not Drew Holiday leading the point of the attack at the defensive end. So seeing that, I expected that little lull, and I wanted to see how their offense was going to be, which is third in the league. They're one of the best field goal percentage teams in the league, efficiency-wise, scoring the basketball. And you feel like Damian Lillard and Giannis, obviously they're still trying to figure each other out after 20 games. Trying to piece it together, but apparently the in-season tournament loss to the Indiana Pacers didn't help. Bobby Porter saying we're not organized. Giannis saying we're not organized. Bobby Porter's calling out Adrian Griffin saying you guys got to be better and put us in a better stretch when the game is on the line. We got to be in better position. And I believe they're one of the better teams early in the season, but something's there where something's not vibing right. And of course, teams have these type of blow-ups all the time, but the defense for the Milwaukee Bucks has just been bad. And usually they're average, but it's really bad. They're just not looking like they're stopping anybody. Teams are getting in transition, beating them to down the court, and getting a lot of the points in the paint. And you feel like guys like Brook Lopez and Giannis, that wouldn't be happening. But obviously, the loss of Drew Holiday, that defensive stalwart on the perimeter, has been hurting them. And Dame has been trying to navigate and find his way offensively, which he's kind of been picking up a little bit. But in terms of that defense, I feel like that's the biggest issue for them. And their bench as well. So there's two things there that have been a problem for the Milwaukee Bucks, and especially all this gripe with Adrian Griffin, who they just brought in. They got some things to figure out, especially on the defensive end. And again, as I said, if Chris Middleton is not up to snuff, especially coming off an injury, and doesn't have that mobility on that end, it's going to be really difficult for you guys the Milwaukee Bucks, to try to get to the finals, in my opinion. Because even though their offense is taking off, your inability to get stops and having Dame be attacked on the offensive end, you can't hide him really. It's going to be tough. At one point, I believe they had Malik Beasley trying to guard Halliburton, and that didn't go well. And that's something that they're going to have to look at because, yeah, Pat Connaughton didn't play, and Jay Crowder has been out for a while. But those guys are probably what they're missing. Those guys that can take a little bit more of the defensive attack there and still be able to provide some type of offense, and especially shooting the basketball. Maybe that's what they've been missing for a while now. And maybe that's what they're waiting for to come back to try to shore up that defense a little bit and get back a little bit to more average. But right now, if Giannis can't lead that defensive charge on that end and hold it down and then affecting everyone around him, it's going to be difficult for the Bucks, especially come playoff time, to try to figure that out. 22 games into the season, but yeah, they got some stuff to figure out because especially with the coach there, I know he's a first-year coach and it's been a little difficult. They moved on from Mike Budenholzer, who was more of an offensive stalwart who just didn't make adjustments. Looking at it from that standpoint, yeah, the Bucks just got to figure out that defensive side of the ball now. Because that offense they raised, and that's where they were having trouble in the past, especially with Drew Holiday not being as efficient in the playoffs. But you definitely feel like that's something that they're going to try to figure out at some point, because if that defense is getting attacked there with Damian Lillard, you can't hide him. Like everywhere he's going to be, it's a mismatch for the other team. They're just going to post him up, go at him, attack him. And if he gets in foul trouble, who are you going to go to at that point? So the Bucks have some problems they got to figure out at some point. But that will do it for this episode of the Basketball Soapbox. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be looking at the in-season tournament, of course, with the Pacers and Lakers. We're going to see the fallout of that. Ring Takes is going to be picking back up with Brian and Lewis, of course. Looking at Randy Orton signing and CM Punk coming back, and we're going to be talking about that in volume this week. So check that out. It should be up on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about it on Tuesday. But thank you guys for joining me. We're going to be looking at the in-season tournament, keep moving down this road of the NBA season. And until next time, thank you for joining me.